Welcome back to JB Reviews. I'm using this 2021 GMC Sierra 1500 AT4 with the 5.3 liter V8 to tow my race trailer, and we're gonna be going up a 6% grade. Now, I've done a test with the 3 liter Duramax. Now, not the LZO, but the LM2, I believe it is. That's the code name for it. And I also did one with a 3.5 liter Power Boost engine too, which that truck so far has blown me away. So yeah, this truck is naturally aspirated, so that's going to affect it a little bit, and it's not a 6.2. The 6.2 is actually the true torque monster of the two. Now, it doesn't really matter though, because when it comes down to towing, sometimes engine performance is affected somehow, and I saw that with the Power Boost. Now that truck had like what, 430 horsepower, 570 pound-feet of torque, and it did good. It blew me away because the stability, because it had the longer bed, and that's something to always consider with these half tons. If you do plan on actually doing some real towing with these trucks, you might want to consider that. So the ETA to the 6% grade is probably about 15-20 minutes. And what we'll do is we'll go up it. It's probably about 3 to 5 miles, and then we'll stop, and then we'll go back the opposite direction, which is a 6% drop. So having these types of tests helps me to kind of understand how these trucks perform. Now, in the last video I mentioned that the GMC with this 5.3 has really good low end torque, and this truck has the 321 rear end. And let me see, when you hit wide open throttle, see that's what I love about towing my trailer. I mentioned this a few other times. It's like it hits a brick wall when you're hooked up to it, because it's a big sail back there. And if I ever have a chance, maybe I'll start doing some tests with some open car trailers to show you guys what I'm talking about. The 0 to 60 is gonna be totally different when it comes down to towing. But yeah, so far, you know, one thing I've said in the past, I've done a lot of tests on these half-ton GMCs. These have always been my top performers for stability. Now, this truck does not have the longer bed, and it has a leaf pack out back, and it does have that off-road suspension, which is typically softer, but it's not really affecting the performance of the truck. Now, this truck has some new tires, I think, that they're called like open range. I've seen a lot of the dealers use these, and they're like an LT tire. They have a lot of capacity. I'll show those to you guys here in a second, but for now, we're gonna get down the road here. Now, as of right now, I don't really know what gear we're in, and that's something I would like to see from GM, is them showing you exactly what gear you're in as it shifts. You can lock it in with the limiter, and you can see where it is. Like in terms, you have to guess, but you can lock it in each gear and then kind of figure it out, but I don't wanna do that. I'm already doing a lot right now, right? I'm towing, and I'm testing this truck, so I have to keep my eyes on the road, so I can't really deal with that right now. But yeah, the stability on this truck is absolutely amazing, for sure. There's a little bit of traffic. That's the only thing I don't like about doing these tests too early in the day, and really I can't do them too late in the day, so I have a very small window to do these tests. But let's see, wide open throttle, not bad. It's not bad. I think a lot of people make fun of this engine because it hasn't been changed in so long. And I think that GM could do themselves some favors here, personally, to really show people just how good this engine is. Like, if they added a little bit more horsepower and torque to this engine, I would say if they can get it like to like 380 horsepower and maybe 400. And I know that some people are like, well, just step up to the 6.2, but I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit more in this tank for this engine, for sure. But so far, at cruising speed at 65 miles an hour, this is a great truck to tow with. Now, in terms of your temperatures, they don't give you much to monitor except for the transmission, but you can see the coolant. It always kind of shows the same number, but we'll have to just monitor it before we get to the 6% grade. Maybe you guys will see a difference on there. But yeah, the transmission's at 162. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get that bad boy probably over 200 today. Now, every time I let off the gas, it drops down to about 2,200 RPMs. And when I give it a little bit of gas, it steps up. So you see how short the steps are? Hopefully you guys saw that. Let me do it one more time. Actually, it's just kind of holding it. But yeah, having the 10-speed, you have the closer steps. Now you saw that one there for sure. But I will say, when an engine doesn't have a lot of horsepower and torque, it does kind of make the transmission busy. And that's kind of the point I want to make in this video, is having a little bit more horsepower and torque allows that transmission to hold the gears better. And yeah, you're going to see that here in a second. But there are no convex on the mirrors on this truck. There is some trucks, I believe the Chevy trucks have the one on the driver's side, but you can still see around that trailer pretty dang good. That's a 28-foot trailer, 8.5 wide, and yeah, you have pretty good visibility around the trailer. So you guys can see ahead of me right now all that traffic. I got slowed down to about 35 miles an hour. Now I'm wide open throttle right now. I'm actually at 6.8 mpg, so this truck's doing pretty good. That's one advantage of having a naturally aspirated engine, because with that power boost, it had a lot of power, but it just sucked down a lot of fuel. Now, I think at the very end of that test, I was at like 3.9 mpg, so we'll have to see how this one does with the V8. But when you're in tow haul mode, this truck does have that DFM, AFM, dynamic fuel management, I think is what it is, and they have active fuel management, so there's like 2 versions of it. But because I'm in tow haul mode, it won't come on, which is nice. So if you don't want that system to come on, you can either lock it in this 10th gear, or you can turn on tow haul mode. But yeah, now I'm going, yeah, 35 miles an hour behind this truck. If I want to, I can try to jump over, but I don't have enough power, you know, and I don't always feel comfortable. Let's give it a try. I'm gonna jump over, okay? Let's see if I can pass. Okay, actually, no, I'm doing pretty good. You know what? That was pretty good. Now, I'm not going up a grade or anything like that, so that was a good test to see how it would do. So getting around that truck was pretty effortless with this 5.3 liter, excuse me. And that's towing about 9,400 pounds behind me now. So it's doing really good. Like, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. Now, that Duramax diesel did good, but this one is actually performing a little bit better than I expected. But look at these views out here, man. This is absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I can definitely tell the transmission is a lot busier compared to the Duramax. Now, I haven't had a chance to tow with the new Duramax 3 liter, which is the LZO. That one has more horsepower and torque, so that one should fare better. So if I have a chance in the future, if I get one, I'll definitely put it up against this 6% grade. I like the fact that when you turn on the signal, it shows that camera view for you. And I want to say GM was probably first to do that. That was the first time I ever saw that camera view with the GM trucks for sure. But yeah, I like that they give that to you. And it does give you that extra added benefit of seeing around that trailer too. So here are the tires. Open range, all terrains. I've seen a lot of these tires lately. LT 275/70/18. And you guys see there, 3,640 pounds of capacity, 80 PSI. Wow, really good tires. Now, if you don't know, this 5.3 liter has 355 horsepower and 383 pound-feet of torque. All that power goes to the 10-speed and 321 rear. Are you guys ready? We are pretty much at the grade. Here we go. I'm gonna drop down to about 55 and start. More than likely in 4th gear. Wow. We were actually climbing speed. Thank you guys for letting me get over. Wow. Impressed. You guys have to go back and watch my LAT video, because this shows you the difference between having a 6-speed and having a 10-speed. Makes all the difference. You know, we're not climbing obviously fast because we're so high above elevation. We're like, before we even started, we were like 4,700 feet, and now we're just continually going up. And this truck is performing a lot better than I expected. Do you guys see this? Like, we're maintaining 57 miles an hour now. We got down to about 54, and we've gone up 3 miles an hour from there, but it's holding the gear. We're at about 4,400 RPMs. 50, wow, I'm impressed. This right here just goes to show you guys the difference between going from a 6-speed and a 10-speed. Insane. This is doing exceedingly better than the LAT with the 6-speed. Is maintaining the speed, is maintaining the gear. It has not shifted. Wow, now we're pretty much at the top here. Wow, I'm impressed. Stop hating on the 5.3 liter. You know, I have to shut my mouth too. This engine does not need any more horsepower and torque. We're pretty much at the top. I don't know why I stopped, but yeah, we're pretty much getting off here. I'm very shocked by that. Now, I know that Silverado is probably 2,000 pounds heavier than this truck is, but I think what you guys just saw, this truck has a 321 rear versus the 373 in the 6-speed too. So even with that being said, very impressive for the 5.3. Very impressive. And then lastly, here is the transmission. You know, it did not get up over 200. So here is that rear axle. 190 degrees. Oh, 191 actually. Okay. I don't ever show you guys these rear tires, but 117 and 105 brakes. 195. That is one healthy 5.3 liter. Now let's see if I can get those headers down there. About 400 degrees on the passenger side. About 440 there. Intake. That's a really good temperature for the intake. We are probably about 1 mpg higher compared to that Ford Power Boost now. That just goes to show you just how much more efficient a V8 naturally aspirated engine is compared to that. Hybrid twin turbos suck down the fuel. Not because of the electric motors, but because of the turbos. But my point is, on that type of setup, I would have expected better. So we're over MPG better compared to that truck in that same spot there. But now we're going down the grade. Let's go ahead and see. It's a little bit of sway. We're going 60 miles an hour. I'm tapping the brakes. Nothing's happening. Oh, there it is. 1, 2. Let's see if it holds it for me. So it's holding it for me. Speed is maintaining at about 60. That way you guys can see the speed there. But yeah, there's a little bit of sway going down the grade. We're going up in speed, so let's see if it does downshift again. Come on, give it to me. If you give me that one downshift, I will give you the accolades, but it's not doing it though. It's just maintaining about 3,400 RPMs. That sucks. And we're just continuing to go up in speed. Yeah. There it is. It just downshifted. It gave it to me, but it's just late now. I mean, I pretty much hit the brakes 3 times, and I'm continuing to go up in speed every time. So this transmission was co-developed with Ford, and I said in the last video this transmission sucks for downshifts, and it does. It's not that good. But you know, it's downshifting, but for some reason it's just not strong to maintain or at least decelerate. I just keep going up in speed. So there you have it. That test is a fail. But I'm glad that it does downshift. It's just not strong. That's all. Here we go. Here's where we finished off at, 8 mpg, which means it beat out the power boost. That is something to think about. So here's a full disclosure. For a second I might have thought, man, this truck might have a 342, but nope, it does have the 323 rear. I'm really impressed by this engine. We got from 54 miles an hour to 58, I believe, and it maintained the speed. It did not shift up or shift down. It stayed in the same gear, and that was with higher gearing out back, which why I looked, because I was like, man, this truck did better than I expected. And you know, at the end of the day, yeah, it would be nice to see the 5.3 liter get another 50 horsepower bump, and I'm pretty sure there's some guys that have these trucks tuned, and I'm willing to bet you if it was tuned with premium fuel, I bet you we could have gotten up to about 63 to 65 miles an hour for sure. It's really loud by the highway here, so I jumped back in the truck. But yes, with the amount of speed that we were able to maintain, and for the transmission not to be busy and shift down, shift up, because sometimes that happens on grades, it knew what gear to be in, and it had enough power to keep you there. Also, the fuel economy is pretty dang good for this engine. Lastly, the tires. The tires did great for stability. However, they were a little noisy for a little bit of the trip. Like as we were going like 40, 50 miles an hour, I started to really notice the tire noise from the open range. So yes, just something to consider. But I hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Support these videos for sure if you like them. And I will see you guys soon. I will try to put together a graph so you guys can see all the trucks for the testing. I'm just trying to do all the testing in the same spot. That way it's apples to apples, because there's like 2 or 3 different places I will do my testing. And so it's just not fair when it's not in the same area. So I have enough trucks now to put a spreadsheet together to show that to you later.